YouTubers, Brian Proctor back again with another video, and this one is the action pose position of the week, number 10 or 11. It'll be down here somewhere. So this is the gun toting position here, and this is, I'm gonna be honest with you, this took me a couple days to do because I kept messing up, because everybody has a weak spot in drawing. Some people are hard to draw emotions, some people have a hard time to draw hands. Mine has always been foreshortening. So to be honest, I redrew this 3 times, and then I had to actually sit down and see where my mistake was so that I can show you guys. So I fixed it and I showed it to you in the video, and I've got examples here. And I don't know how long this video is going to be, but it's got the examples to show you exactly how to do it and not make my same mistake. So this is the position. Sit back and relax, because it wasn't relaxing for me to do, but it will be for you once you learn the secrets of doing this. So every comic book has a gun toting position if you are not a superhero, if you're an agent or a spy or police or whatever. So this is a good position, and it makes for a great pinup as well. So without further ado, here we go. All right, here we are back again. I'm going to try to draw this guy a gun aiming and holding position. I tried it before and it failed, and I just turned it into a speed drawing, and you can see that. I'll leave a link to it after the video. So all right, let's do this. First thing I want to do is find out how tall the guy is going to be. So you don't want him to come off the paper. So I would say about right here. He might be a little inch or so taller or shorter, but you want to know, you want to fit the body into here. You don't want to fit the whole body in here, but this is where your drawing is going to go, like doing a panel. So we want to turn this guy. You want to do this part first, which I don't know why it just jumped out of my head. The torso first, and you have your collarbone and your U, upside down U, like that, and then these points. Go back and watch the other video. I'll show you how to do the torso, and you have your V here for your neck. Let's bring the head up, because you want to position the head so that it'll fit with the gun. So you have your delts and your shoulders, your other delt, and your chest, which is just over this little U here, this upside down U. And remember, it turns at this point. So it would curve around here and then into that. So let's go down with this, because where your nipples are, this is going to come down and then curve in. So you're going to have your obliques here, or your love handles, as I used to call them before I actually looked up the name. And then it goes down into the crotch. This is your hips, hip, waist. This is your hips. Your weight, hip. What is there a difference between hips and waist? I don't know. Like that. Comes up like that. This guy might be a little long. Let me check real quick. Turn it upside down. Turn your drawing upside down, and it's good to look in a mirror too. Turn it into a mirror, and I have a mirror right in front of me. So for now, that looks pretty good. So let's suck his stomach in by just curving it in like that, and then curving it back out. And that gives him that drawn in, good looking ab, like he's not fat. So I got these two, the other two, and your 6-pack. Then your belly button should be right about there somewhere. Sometimes it's up. It all differs from people. I didn't want to say depend, I said differ. So and notice I haven't worked on a gun hand, because that thing would give me so much trouble. I'm trying to get the stand right. A different type of stand. Don't want to crouch over. A lot of things I do is crouching, so just want a kind of nice little stand. And his arm, with the other gun, he's going to be holding another gun up. And you can probably see some of the gun. His finger's going to be here, his palm, and the bottom of the gun. So this other finger is going to curve around. Your thumb is going to be here somewhere, and I'll do all that later. I'm just trying to get a basic position of the gun. And I don't think I'm going to really draw a gun. I'm just going to use a shape, because the gun doesn't really matter, just as long as you got the right shape there. and the bicep, and the tricep here. You separate the two. So let's work on, and this is going to be the hard part for me anyway. So let's do this other leg first. Let's do this. Let's see how this is going to go. Put that knee out, Brian. Put that knee out. And then the other leg. Come right here. That knee is going to be tucked in here between this muscle here, this curved water drop muscle comes all the way down, and your knee tucks under it, especially when they're really muscular. And this one on the side doesn't come all the way down, but I'll bring it down just to get that knee shape, and then I'll take it up later. So here's my knee. Outside, it comes around the knee and goes down into the shin bone, calf, and then the other comes down to the side, close to the knee, and the other side of the leg. I might make that smaller, but we'll fix that in the wash. And your ankle's here to chop it off. See where I'm going to stop him. And then your foot. See that it's coming out long. Let me check in the mirror and see if this is overly long. Yes, it is way overly long. And that's because of the angle that I'm drawing. My drawing table is sitting at a strange angle so that the camera can see what I'm doing. So let's just say about right here. So about right there, and then I'll bring that calf up a little bit more. I might be able to bring that knee up. To match that knee. And then chop it off here. Do the wedge for the foot. That's a quick way to do it. For those people who have trouble with feet. Did it just go back all the way down again? What's wrong with you, Brian? This one here just needs to come out a better angle and goes back in time. And let's look at this again to see if it just got overly long, just by a couple millimeters. And if I didn't say it, I have a mirror right there in front of me so that I can look at my expressions whenever I draw faces. And that's a good thing to have when you draw faces and you're doing comic books, to be able to look at your expressions and then draw what you see on the paper. Makes it more realistic. And I'll fix this in the wash. So now this, some people would say it's the easy part, but to me it's the hard part. So let's say this is the face here. And you notice I'm just avoiding drawing that arm and that gun, which is the main part to the video. Just want to get everything else right, so because it's going to cover up this, my lats, this, that, and it's going to cover that up anyway, and this. There's a little skinny butt. It's all about the gun. Okay, so well, let's put the gun. What I usually do is I'll locate where I want to put the gun at first. So let's say the gun is here. So the gun is going to be narrow, and it's not even going to be that big, that long. So put the gun here, and I put his hand below the gun. So this is the aiming point right here. So it's like that. Let me do a pencil, or maybe blue. I don't know if you can see blue. Let's just use a pencil. So we have this here. This is hand. It's the gun. And you might tilt it back a little bit. That gives it that in perspective. That makes it look like it's longer instead of just straight at you. It's still aiming, but you can see some of the side of the gun. Makes it a little better. So what am I doing? Curving here. You're really not gonna see part of the hand. So we're gonna have the what is this? The wrist. I'm gonna bring it up, and it's always gonna tilt down a little bit. Your elbow's gonna be aiming down. It's not gonna be aiming up here, up here. I know it's a weird kind of shot, but it depends on how much you aim it. You have to aim it, or how much tilt it is, determines how far he's holding that gun out. There, and of course you have your delts right here, so you know you have to connect your delts with your forearm. So about like that, and it's just an oval. And then you have the guy aiming the gun, and it's not straight out, but I didn't really want it straight out because that's a weird position. I tried that, but it's just a weird position. So we have that. So to me, the hard part is done. And this arm is up, so yes, his shoulder would be up just a little bit. So you have your collarbone, which would come into this. This one would come out here. Shoulder. You can bring that lat in now a little bit. You might be able to bring this up some. This, and then the leg. And here. So now, this is kind of long. What is it? Okay, shorten that a little bit. Work on the head. I want to tilt that head down a little more. Not like he's looking down on the ground for change or anything. Just want to tilt the head down a little more. Maybe not that much, because he's like looking at his shoes. It's like, oh, my shoe's untied. So, but I do want him to have just a little tilt, but I'm not even going to have the face, but just for drawing purposes and in my head, I know what this guy's looking at. I'm just refining. Now, so that is the position, and I left some space over here so that I can do a close-up of a hand as best I could to show you guys what I'm doing. So let's say, again, the gun is here, and I'll do all this in ink. The gun is here, and you have just a little piece of the gun showing. And let's just do some type of a gun like this. However, a gun would be like this, something, 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 and then your, this is going to be kind of hard wrapping a hand around a gun. Usually I wrap a gun around a hand. So this is your gun. And your handle, which would the butt of the gun, the butt, yes, you wouldn't see that. So let's just say we'll do your finger, one finger, and this finger is going to be it's going to be holding the trigger. So it's going to be straight on, and then going back, and then your knuckle. So the other knuckle, and your hand is not really going to be curved, but just let's curve it. I don't want to get it too big. Comes down. So your knuckles are going to line up. Your first part, these are your knuckles, your first bend in your finger is going to line up. So it's going to be this one, and this one. And then it's going to go in because it is holding the gun. Like that. And you might see the third bend, but usually in comics you only do 2 fingers. And this one has to come up a little bit because this piece right under there is going between that finger. So this finger has to come up. So let's just do this. Let's take that finger off of the trigger. Okay, this is the bendable part. That's gonna have to go up like that. It's gonna have to come out because you're gonna have to have your thumb wrapping around that here. And I think this fingers are a little too tight or too short. You're gonna have that thumb coming around. So if you had the thumbnail, it's gonna be like this. So I'm gonna have to bring these fingers out a bit more. Let's try that. That's much better. And I'll detail that. So you have this and that. And this one here. So if you wrapped it around the third joint, it would be right around here somewhere. But as I say, usually in comics we don't. So, and I'm still not liking the way this finger is on that trigger. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw this back, and I'm going to just put the edge of his finger on it. So it's going to be like that. The other part of the finger is going to be here, and then the third, or this part is going to cut here, leaving that down and across like so. And this other one's here is going to round that off like that. You'll probably, this is going to come down. Probably see some of it here, or the back part. Let me do a pencil. Like that. You'll see the back of that. The trigger is going to be here somewhere. You see a little space of gun, and then however the butt of the gun will sit there. So this is going to curve around, down, and then curve around. This is your, I don't even know what that part is called. Like that. And this is a crazy looking gun. But I mean, if I was actually trying, it would be a little better, but I just want to throw something in there that resembles a crazy looking gun. And then you have your, which is not going to come way up here. It's going to come down here, like in your second joint, your part of your wrist. And then the other part is going to come down about somewhere around here. That is crazy looking. And then let's try this. Because your wrist is going to come in and you have a muscle that curves around like that. You have this. Like so. But actually, because this gun is tilted, I don't know. Actually, this gun should have been down more. Should have been tilted down. The problems of drawing, which was no big thing. So we have this, we have this, and we have that. There you go. So you should see some of the top of the gun from this angle. How did that gun get so high? Looking like an amateur. Let's just draw the square. Here, 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 and there. I couldn't make the gun a little fatter, but it's not about the gun. So there you go. Now this is the hard part right here. This part here, how do you want to place it? Is it going to be long like that? Is it going to be, or should I say down? Is it going to be this angle? Let's switch angles. Okay, so let's bring this up. And as I said, for me, this was always the hard part. So by bringing it up, I don't know what I was going to say. By bringing it up, I mean probably the wrist. Determined before we had it down, now we bring it up a little bit. And I say this is going to go into that muscle. And then from there, just come here, your elbow is here, this piece there. So from there, you're going to have your bicep, which goes into your tricep, like that. Bicep, no, which goes into your delt. What am I talking about? Separate there, you don't have to. And then your collarbone, shoulder. And I just wanted to do a close-up of that to show you. So it's this little piece, which is your wrist, curves around, and then this piece right here. So I guess if you drew a oval, and then you drew a cylinder, but this cylinder has to come like that. So oval, cylinder, and then your hand. Like that. And then your bicep, or however you want to put your bicep. I think that's the easiest way to do it, which was always the hard way for me to kind of figure it out. So let's ink this. And I'll put in the details as I'm doing the fast motion, so you guys don't have to watch me ramble anymore. All right, and I am back 2 days later because I had to figure this thing out. I really wanted to figure it out so that I can show you guys. And how can I teach something if I don't know how to do it myself? So that's how I find out how to do stuff more detailed, by teaching it, learning it a little bit more, because I can draw. But the thing is, a lot of people can draw, but the thing is showing people how to draw or how they can draw. So I had to figure this thing out. So when last we met, we were having trouble with this. I was having trouble with this, and I pretty much got it down. The forearm, I guess you can call it the forearm. There's so many muscles. Every muscle is individually named, and just the whole thing. Let's just call it the forearm, and I'll call this the wrist. So I broke this thing down as best I could. So let's say you have a stick, and yes, this video is going to go long, but it's great information. Let's say you have a round pole. You have your pole. It's round. Okay, so let's face that pole to the front a little bit more, like that. Now, if you cut that pole in half, you take a saw and you cut that pole in half, what you're going to have is this. So this is what we're going to use. So now for this hand, and I keep moving this paper, I don't want to get it out of range. If you do this, if you turn it sideways like this, and it's straight in front of you, like that, you'll have that. Now, if this is your wrist, and then the rest is your forearm. So let's just say we do this, we cut it off here, and we put the forearm here. That's the shape that we're using right here. So if I put the forearm back here somewhere, or the rest of the arm back here, here's your bicep, and here's your delt. So this is going to be your torso and your chest. Now that's going to be coming straight at you because it looks like that. So you put the hand right here, and let's switch colors. Let's do with a blue pen. The blue pencil might not be seen. So you put the hand right here, and then you put the gun right here. And that's the only way it's going to be straight in front of you, because when you do this, when you do the forearm here, let's do it the right way. Do this here. Whichever way this is facing, or whichever direction, that gun has to go in that direction as well. And I always started out by drawing my guns straight at you, and I couldn't figure out why this was not coming out right. So if you do, however you turn this piece of cut off wood, that gun has to go in that same direction. So the more you turn this, or whatever angle you turn this at, your gun has to go in that direction. And then there is your trigger guard. And let's see if I can do this trigger guard thing, show you like a close-up of a hand. This is the beginning of a hand, like this. This is your first finger. Let's chop your fingers off. Finger, finger, finger. So you have your trigger guard on your gun, and this is the bottom of your gun. Crazy looking gun. Now, this finger, your first finger, is going to bend here, because you know you have your 3 joints to your finger, and then your third one is going to be right here on that gun. So you have this bent up, then you have your knuckle, which comes for your second finger, and because that trigger guard is below that finger, or that finger is in that trigger guard, this next finger has to come below that, like that. And by the way, all your fingers are going to lean down more like that. They're not going to go straight across like I just drew. They're going to lean down. So we have that one, but that joint where the first turn is going to be the same direction as that gun, so it's going to bend right here, and this is going to go and wrap around the gun. The next one, when you bring it down, it's going to be a little further down. That joint is going to be a little further down than that one, and then it bends around the gun. And your third one is going to be pretty much the same height or the same line as that other joint. Then you're going to have some meat here, and let's just say this is the butt of your gun, or the handle of your gun, the butt of your gun, the handle, however. So this is going to come around that meat here, which is the palm, which is this, and that thumb is going to come and hook around that gun like that. So this part is going to be touching. So because this part is flat, this part is going to be holding the gun. So it's going to look like that, and then you have the bottom of your gun here. And this could be bent in a little bit more. It depends on how much you want to have the person grabbing the gun tightly or not. And you may or may not see some of the palm, the fatter part of the palm over the thumb. You may not see that. But that's a good way to do. You could have a little bit of finger coming out from the trigger guard. That's a good way to do the gun. Now, as I said, if you want to do the gun right up on you like that, you're going to have to do just a little bit of this part right here. This part, you're going to do a little of that, and it's going to not be high, it's going to be low, because the arm is always tilted down whenever you aim something. So you're going to be just a little bit like that, and then the rest of your what is that, the rest of the back of the arm. Remember, the elbow is going to be low, so the arm is shaped, it's got some weird shape because it's not going to be round, but the elbow. Then you won't see the bicep. You will come right up to the shoulder. And let me switch colors. You switch right up to the shoulder, go to the collarbone, and then actually this is your delt, your shoulder, your neck, and your head. So you will not be seeing that bicep if you're going to do a straight on shot, and that's exactly what it's going to look like. And let's do this, poor excuse for a gun. So that's what you're going to see if you do, if you want to see the gun aim directly at you. So let me do just a quick example, a couple quick examples on this. Red pencil. So we have your core, and why can I never think of this thing? Anyway, you have that. You have your shoulder here, which is a given. Your shoulder is always going to be here. Your delts is always going to be there. So this direction. Now let's just say I put the gun down here. For some reason, I put the gun down here. So here is your hand holding the gun. Here is that piece of this way. Your wrist. course you don't want to work now while I'm filming. Your wrist. And then your bicep. And then your delt. Now, your hand is going to be here again. And the gun is going to be here. Now, of course, that looks strange because, let me do this right, you guys can see it. Because that gun is straight on, whereas this part of your arm is actually tilted that way. So you would have to actually take the gun and take it along that same axis, I guess you would call it that. I'm not a math person. And then you have your gun sitting right on that hand, and you just have to adjust the hand to actually wrap around the gun, and then you would see some of the back of the hand. And then the gun would be right, taking your gun in perspective. The same way if you did it and you wanted the gun straight on, once again, that, your delt, and I'm going to put me a sign up right here with the name of all these parts. Your, and again, your gun, which is going to be right here. Your hand, and that might be a little low, but for drawing's sake, you want a part of your wrist, and then the back of your hand, the back of your wrist, then your bicep. And I know this is kind of, you might not be able to see this because it's red and there's so many lines, but I'm going to ink this all to have it. And because this is not going back at that angle, it's more like this, then that gun will be the same way. You might have a little rear of the gun like that, and then your hand. And this, so if I had a gun in his hand, if there was a hand right here, and there was a gun, the gun would have to follow this same line, like that. And it's kind of far back, but hopefully you get the gist of it all. So while I have this here, let me do this. So here's your finger, holding that gun. This is the back of your hand. This comes down. There's a muscle. They curve up a lot of different muscles up there, like that. Your bicep, and then your delt, like so. And as I said, your gun would have to follow that line. So your gun would look like this, depending on what type of gun you had. You have a ray gun or whatever kind of gun suits your drawing. So that is going to be that. Now we can ink. I still don't know what this is called. I don't know why this stuff slips my head. But as I say, there's a different muscle. When you have an arm, you have different muscles that run in different ways, and each muscle is named, so thank God for you doctors, because I couldn't be a doctor because I couldn't remember all of those muscles. So I'm going to ink this now, and hopefully it won't be over 30-some minutes, because I don't know why my videos are all 30-some minutes, but I don't understand how people can do those 10-minute videos. And yes, you're saying it's because you talk too much, but I have to explain because that's part of teaching. All right, so let me see if you were looking at this, close up of this, and then let me ink everything, and then we'll be done with this video. All right, I think that's going to be it for this action position, action pose position of the week. It turned out to be more of a tutorial than just a pose position, but you know, I want you guys to understand and learn, and just remember when doing that to do this thing right here where you have your piece chopped off, and then going back, and then your oval around it, then your bicep, then your delts, and then your hand is attached to this here, and this could be the back, this circle could be the back of your hand as well. So just remember that, and then the gun is always going to go on that same arc as that. So if you have a gun, it's going to go here like that. So wherever this goes, however that goes, if it goes back straight, your gun is going to be straight. So I think if you remember that, just doing this little piece here and then putting it back with your oval, your bicep, and your delt, I think you'll be okay. So that would be your front position without seeing any bicep. It's just this oval, just a piece of that, which is the back of, you can serve for the back of your hand as well. And then you have it. So with that note, let me make sure this is focused before I go. I will call this one quits. And yeah, good luck with that one. And I will see you guys in the next video.